friends, it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Marathon Wednesday, and this week we have got a two-parter because our artist today has got 27 studio albums, and that's too many to do in one sitting, so we've split it up. And the band we're talking about is the Robin Trower Band. Now we know Robin Trower, born in 1945, was a guitarist with Procol Harum, and he played with them between 1967 and 1971, and went back and did an album with them, and then he's formed his sort of band, the Robin Trower Band. He's had lots of people come on board. He's had a couple of solid lineups, but there's always some great players. To be quite honest, there is not really a bad Robin Trower Band album. They've all got merits. So today we're going to concentrate from number 27 up to number 14, and then next week we'll do 13 right up to number 1. So coming in at number 27, this is an album from 1997, and it's called Someday Blues. Now, it's an album that it's just a reissue with a couple of changes. Playing on here is Paul Page on bass. Reg Isidore, yes, Reg is back after a long break on the drums. We've got Nicky Brown on vocals and electric and Hammond organs, and of course Robin on the guitars and vocals. So I'll quickly go through these tracks because we'll be talking about them in a bit. So we've got the next in line, Feel So Bad, Someday Blues, Crossroads. Now the only different track on this one is a track called I Want You to Love Me. It's a nice little bluesy track, some great guitar work from Robin as ever, and you've got some great, nice to hear Reg back on the drums. And then we have Inside Out, Shining Through, Looking for a True Love, Extermination Blues, and Sweet Little Albums. Okay, this is a rehash of an album called Another Day Blues. I don't know what you know. They said it's remixed, but I can't say the difference. So it is a good album, but it's a rehash. So I'm just going to give this an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10 for the extra track. Okay, coming in at number 26. Now this one comes from 2021. It was recorded in 2018, and it's called The Union State of Mind. Now, on here we've got Robin Trower, of course. Lead vocals is the singer Maxi Priest, and bass and keyboards and producer is one of his long-time collaborators, Livingston Brown. On the drums, Chris Taggart, who's drummed with Robin for many a year. We've got on cello Chris Worsley, flute Eileen Hunter, trombone Ed Ryban, trumpet Angus Moncrief, viola Adrian Smith, and Steve Morris on the violin, with saxophone James Orban. Okay, first track on this one is the title track, Union State of Mind. It's not a bad track. Great vocal from Maxi Priest. You wouldn't expect this sort of combo, but it worked and it sounded all right. Are We Just People? Some really nice guitar work here from Robin. Fantastic guitar player, and I think this is one of the best tracks on here. It's got a great little bass line from Livingston, who's a great bass player. On Fire Like Zaza, it's okay. It's not bluesy, it's not poppy, it's there, but it's okay. My favourite track on here is a thing called Walking Wounded. It's a combination of blues and jazz. You've got the bluesy side of Robin, and you've got the jazzy sound of Maxi Priest. It really works. It's a good track. Sunrise Revolution. It's pleasant enough. I wouldn't jump up and down for this one though. Then we got Hands to the Sky. What a funky bass line from Livingston Brown. Really has got a funky groove to it. It's okay, but the bass line is pretty good. Bring It All Back to You. It's not too bad. A bit weak, but Good Day is too poppy. It's more Maxi Priest sort of sound. I wouldn't say he's my favourite person. Where did our love come from? The highlight of this is actually Robin's guitar solo. Apart from that, the song would be pretty bland and dull. Listening to this album, it is a bit of a mishmash. To be quite honest, it's got some really nice tracks on it, and it's got some mediocre tracks on it. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 25, we go to the year of 1987, and an album called Passion. Now, playing on here is another person that there's a 3-piece again, and these are 2 people that do occur on these albums. The lead vocals are done by Davey Patterson, guitarist Robin, of course, Dave Bronze, who does bass, synths and vocals, keyboards Reg Webb, some keyboards by Robert A. Martin, and Pete Thompson, again, who drums on quite a few of Robin's albums. First track on here is Caroline, nothing to do with Quo, and even poor old Robin succumbed to this sort of 80s sound, and I'm not a fan of this. Secret Doors, how can you make blues smooth? Well, someone tried to, and it doesn't work. If Forever, a typical 80s ballad, but I must admit I do like the guitar work from Robin on it. It's pretty good. Won't Even Think About You, it's got a funky bass line from Dave Bronze. It's alright. Title track, Passion, more of this 80s nonsense. It just sounds terrible. I just don't get it. Then we have Known Time. It's the only one that's really got that blues feel to it, and like a proper blues. Dave's bass line is great. Robin's guitar solo is amazing. It's the best track on the album without a doubt. Up next is Night, a very wishy-washy ballad, but it has got a terrific guitar solo on it, so it sort of makes it okay. Bad Time, horrible 1980s drum sound, but it's alright. And more one word, it's 80s rock, and it's okay. It's a little bit dated, but it sounds alright. I would say this is the a lean period for Robin. It must have been frustrating because these are great musicians, and they're being told by the company to make a nice 80s album. So I'm going to give this one an RTR ranking of 4.2. Okay, coming in at number 24, this is an album that came out in 1985, and it's called Beyond the Mist. It's Robin's doing the guitar, Dave Bronze on the bass, and the drummer on this is Martin Clapston. The Last Time, it's got the 80s feel to it, but it's not a bad track actually. I don't mind this one. Keeping a Secret, yeah, it's solid, nothing wrong with it. The Voice, it's okay, it's got some nice guitar work from Robin. You can't keep him to playing what he does, it's just the sound around him. You don't tell him you've got to smooth it, because I don't think he would. Beyond the Mist, probably one of the better songs on here from Robin, excellent track. Time Is Short, it's a typical 80s rock song, and I've sort of got a bit of a thing for it, it's okay. Back It Up, I like this. I've heard a live version of it and it's much better. And then we've got another version of Bridge of Sighs, which we'll talk about next week. It's alright. It's alright, this album. It's nothing special. It's got some highlights, that's all I'll say. So I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 4.4. Okay, coming in at number 23. Now this one's the 11th solo album. It was released in 1988. The second to feature Davey Patterson on lead vocals, and it's called Take What You Need. So with Robin and Davey Patterson, Dave Bronze on the bass and Pete Thompson on the drums. Guest stars on this are Reg Webb, Robert Martin on background vocals, and Chris Thompson background vocals as well. First track on here is called Tear It Up. Even though it's got that 80s tinge to it, it's quite good. It's not as smooth. It's got a really great guitar piece from Robin, and even Dave Bronze's bass line is pretty cool on that one. Take What You Need from me, a typical sort of 80s wishy-washy sound. It's not for me. Love Attack isn't too bad, even with the 80s drumming. It's got a bit of beef on this one. Pete Thompson was allowed to give it an extra bang, I think, because it does sound pretty decent. I Want You Home. It's probably the worst track that Robin Trower has ever done. It's so dated. It sounds so 80s now. Shattered, a very commercialised rock track. It's okay, and it's got a really good solo in it, so it saves it. Over You, a typical ballad. It's all right. Careless, got a great bass line, well, I'll say. Second Time, it's the best one on the album. I like it. It's got a groove. It's got a great vocal from Davey. It's a bit smooth, but I think it's the strong vocal that shines on that from Davey. Love Won't Wait Forever, very mediocre, not very good, and it's got that last track feeling. Although this is an 80s, it's one of the better albums from that period. They weren't so much smooth, they were allowed to get away with a bit, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4.5. Okay, coming in at number 2, we go to 1990 now, and the 12th solo album, In the Line of Fire. This was the third album that had Davey Patterson singing, so joining Robin on and Davey on here. We've got Bobby Mayo on keyboards, John Regan plays the bass, Tony Beard plays the drums, and making some guest appearances on this one we have Matt Noble, who does keyboards on Under the Gun. Percussion is Bashiri Johnson, and the backing vocals Pepe Castro and Al Fish. First track on here is called Sea of Love. The 80s may have gone and we're now in the 90s. It's still got a little 80s tinge, but it sounds a lot better, and it's not a bad track. Then we have Under the Gun. Yeah, and the little cheesy keyboard at the beginning is a bit cheesy. It's a very commercial sounding track, but it's okay. Turn up the volume. The guitars have got a bit more grit from Robin, and also you've got a great vocal from Davey. My favourite track on here though is called Natural Fact. It's got a really good guitar solo. It's twin guitars, it's obviously overdubbed, but it really works. It's a good track, my favourite on the album. Up next, If You Want to Really Find Love. I don't mind this. It's got a bit of a groove to it. I'm so glad they've lost the smoothness of the 80s, because it does sound pretty good. Everybody's Watching You Now. It's a good little rocker, this is. It's my second favourite track on the album. I love the drum on this. It's absolutely brilliant. Isn't It Time is next. Bit poppy for me. Not one of my favourites. I Would Be Still There, Here For You. Another great little blues groove. Very, very good. All That I Want, it's just a wishy-washy 80s throwback. Let's Turn This Fight Into a Brawl. It's still got a little bit of 80s tinge on it, but the guitars do sound a lot better, a bit more rawer. Climb Above the Rooftops, a really good track. What a great bass line here from John Regan. Absolutely brilliant. Great groove to it. It's a good track actually to end the album with. It's not a bad album. There's still a little bit of that 80s feel to it, but they are moving on. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 or a 10. Okay, coming in at number 21, we move to 2014. And an album called Something's About to Change. So joining Robin on here, who plays guitars, both the bass, vocals and guitars. Chris Taggart does the drums and Luke Smith plays the keyboards. So the first track is the title track, and it's the best track on here. It's a bluesy instrumental track, and I love it. I like how you've got, you forget that Robin is playing bass and the guitar on this. Really good. Next track is called Fallen. It's not bad. Now, Robin's vocals are a little bit flat in places. But playing on it is fantastic. Chris Taggart, great drummer. Really good. Then we have riff number 7, Still Alive. The song's great, but it's Robin's vocal. They're a little bit weak. Dreams That Shone Like Diamonds. It's not bad. It's a good vocal. It's got some nice groove on it. The bass line that Robin did on this is terrific. Good Morning, Midnight. I think this is a pretty solid track. Great drumming from Chris. He's always put a decent line down. Again, both the bass and guitar work from Robin are pretty solid. What You Never Want to Do, it's okay, but it's not my favourite on the album. I do like it though, but it's not a favourite. Strange Love, solid enough blues track. What I like, nothing wrong with that one. Gold to Grey, again, it's just a great solid blues track. The One Saving Grace, it's got some really nice guitar licks from Robin. Absolutely terrific stuff. Snakes and Ladders, another solid performance. Nothing wrong with that one at all. Up and Gone, my second favourite track on here. It's a great vocal from Robin. Brilliant. And then the last track, Till I Reach Home. It's a great guitar work from Robin. It's just Robin Trower. You know it's him from the first minute you hear it. It's a damn good track to end the album. Some of the tracks on here, they do seem like they're going through the motions a little bit. It's a little bit repetitive in places as well, but it's still pretty solid. It's a good album in places, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay, at number 20 from 2010. It's called The Playful Heart. Joining Robin on here, we've got Glenn Lech and Livingston Brown doing the bass duties. Pete Thompson's on the drums, and the ever-present Davey Patterson is doing the vocals on this one. So the first track is the title track, Playful Heart. I like this track. It's a great vocal from Davey, it's the highlight of the track. Don't Look Back, another solid, distinctive Robin Trower style track. A great bass line. I think this is Livingston, but it's absolutely got his Livingston Brown written all over it. Good track. The Turning, I love the beats of this. Pete Thompson, another solid drummer, picks up the beat on this one and sort of dictates where this song goes. It's a really good song. Dressed in Gold, a pretty mediocre track, but what a guitar solo. It really lightens it up. If it weren't for that solo, it'd be pretty drab. Find Me, I really like this. It's a nice arrangement, very solid track, great playing by everyone, and a great vocal. Songs for Those Who Fell. This is quite funky. It's got a great groovy bass line, and it's got some nice guitar work again from Mr. Trower. Maybe I Can Find a Friend. This is so relaxing. It's got some nice delicate pieces of guitar on this. It's really chill out blues. Prince of the Shattered Dreams. The guitar effects on this are great. I love how he creates these songs. It's got a little bit of wah-wah in there as well. It really does add to it. Then we have Camille, a really jazzy track. This is the jazz guitar on this, and it's one of my favourites on this album. Not Outside, Inside, Outside, another real good track. The bass line on this is terrific. It's just such a groove. And my favourite track on here is the last track, and We Shall Call It Love. I think Pete's drumming on this is fantastic, and everyone sort of gets behind that beat. It's a terrific track. Great vocal as well. I don't mind this album at all. I think it's one. It's got a lot of passion in this one. Some great playing on it, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at 19. Now this one may be a little bit controversial, and it's from 1977, and it's called In the City of Dreams. This is where James Dewar passed the bass over to someone else, and he just concentrated on singing. So the lineup for this band is Robin Trower guitars, James Dewar on the vocals, Rusty Allen on bass, and Bill Lawden on the drums. Very classic Robin Trower Band. First track on here is called Someone's Calling. It's got a great guitar solo, but it's a little bit shallow in places. It doesn't have the same zing. Sweet Wine of Love. It's a nice tune, but it's very middle of the road. It's not bluesy. It's not rocky. It's a song that your nan would like. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Bluebird. It's a great vocal from James, but it's not bluesy. It's not. It is a good song, but it's sort of a white elephant. Falling Star. This is a great track. It's a good old-fashioned rocker. It's my favourite track on the album. Great playing from Robin. Great vocal from James. Really good. Then they do a version of Further On Up the Road, and it's not a bad version, written by John Roby and Joe Vasey, of course. It's a pretty good version of that song. Smile, back to the middle of the road stuff. It's all right. Little Girl. This is more like it. It's got some great guitar tones from Robin, plus a fine vocal, and Bill's drumming is terrific on that one. Then we got Love's Gonna Bring You Around, a very good vocal from James, a great little rusty bass line as well. And the last track is the title track. It's in City Dreams. It's okay, some nice guitar. Now, people think, well, why have you put this so loud? I find this very confusing. 1 minute we got middle of the road poppy, and then we got blues. There's no natural flow to this album. It's a little bit bitty in my books. I do like the bluesy tracks, but the middle of the road poppy stuff, it just didn't ring with me. But for the bluesy stuff, I'm going to give you a ranking of 6.5. Okay, number 18. Now remember the very first album I mentioned on this, Someday Blues. Okay, now this is the actual album from 2005, and it's the same people: Paul Page, Reg Isidore, Nicky Brown, and Robin Trower, and this is called Another Day Blues. So, same tracks, but we'll go through them a bit now. Okay, the first track is called Inside Out. Some great playing from Robin on this. He makes that guitar sing. Sunday Blues. There's nothing greater than hearing a Hammond organ on a blues track. It's a very strong track. I do like that track. Sweet Little Angel. What a bass line from Paul Page. Drives the song. Reggie's drumming is still as good as ever. What a great solo as well from Robin. 20th Century Blues. Dynamic playing from Robin on here. It's just brilliant. The vocals are good as well. Mixture of Nicky and Robin on that one. Next in line, great vocal from Robin. Absolutely brilliant. Go my own way. I just love the guitar tones that Robin creates. Examination Blues, one of my favourite tracks on here. It is a fantastic guitar work, great drumming from Reg. Lovely to hear him playing on this album. Good track. Looking for a True Love, another great track. The keyboards from Nicky on this are brilliant. Really gives it a delicate touch. Shining Through is one of them melodic blues tracks with the keyboards and the drums just making it so good. Crossroads, yeah, it's the Robert Johnson song. Always a good track. I do like that. Feel So Bad, another Hammond organ special and bluesy guitar. This is what I love about the sound of that one. This is Blue Love, another pretty strong track. I think this is a great album, but when you've got 27 albums to choose from, it is pretty hard. You know, a good album like this is in the bottom half. You can tell what the quality is. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, coming in at number 17. Go to 2009 for What Lies Beneath. So joining Robin on here, who on guitars and vocals, we've got Roger Cotton on the organ. Strings are done by Andrew Haveron and Claire Hinton. Bass guitar is Livingston Brown. Two drummers on here. Sam Van Essen drums on tracks 1, 3 to 7, 10 and 11. And Chris Taggart does 2, 8 and 9. So the first track on here is called Wish You Were Mine. Really good track. Love the drums on this. This is Sam Van Essen. Brilliant track. Great guitar from Robin. And a really good vocal as well. Terrific track. What Lies Beneath. Such a great guitar from Robin. Very Jimi Hendrix style. I love this track. You know, it's got that sort of effects on the guitar. It's a brilliant track. As You Watch Each is City Fall Part 1. Nice vocals from Robin. I think it's really good, and it's just got a groove to it. And then it goes into the part 2, and the second part is faultless. Wonderful guitar playing, excellent track. Free for All, a pretty solid vocal, great sound to it as well. Love that track. Once the Spell Is Broken, it's got a great bass line from Livingston. Pure magic blues, a great bluesy bass line. Love that. Sleeping on the Moon. Robin's vocals are pretty good on this. It's got a great guitar groove, solid track. Time and Emotion, very gentle. It's got a smooth jazzy guitar sound. I love this. It's so relaxing. Then we have one of my favourite tracks on here. It's Skin and Bone. It's very Jimi Hendrix, and I love it. Absolutely killer track. Buffalo Blues comes next. It's one of them, I mean this in a good way, that ploddy blues, and the keyboards on it sound really good as well. Find a Place. I like the arrangement more than the singing. It's not a great vocal, I'm afraid. Sort of the blip on the album. It's not a bad little album. Robin's voice is a little bit strainy in places, but I don't mind. I like some great playing on it, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 16 is an album from 2013, and it's called Roots and Branches. So Robin does the guitars and vocals, Livingston Brown does the bass, Richard Watts, who will appear later as well, does bass and vocals, Chris Taggart on the drums on this, Paul Jones and Manfred Mann on the harmonica, and Luke Smith again on keyboards. Now these are a lot of covers. So we open up with Hound Dog, which is a very much more bluesy version of it with some great harmonica from Paul Jones. It actually works. Then they do the classic B.B. King song, The Thriller's Gone, absolutely top draw version of it. Brilliant track. Then there's one of Robin's, and it's called When I Heard Your Name. It's a great song, very bluesy, very solid. Then we have a version of Little Red Rooster, Howlin' Wolf song. Rolling Stones have done this. I love this track, regardless of who does it. It's brilliant. I would say my favourite version of this song must be the Stones. I Believe in My Soul. This is a song that was written by Ray Charles, performed by Monk Higgins. It's not a bad version of this song, I like it. Then we've got Shape of Things to Come. Now this is written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Will. It's an old song and it was performed by Max Frost. Now this version of it is quite good, and I think it's the best version. It's even better than the original. Absolutely killer track. Save Your Love, a nice song. It's an original song, really good. And then they do a great version of Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign. Brilliant version. I think this is the best version of it I've heard, apart from Albert King's. Sheltered Moon is next. It's another song that Robin wrote, and it's a great blues song. It's wonderful, great guitar. Then we have See My Life, another great track. There's some wah-wah on it. It's another original. It's an excellent track. I think this album is pretty good. There's some great covers on here and some absolutely stunning originals. It's a very good listen, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.2. Okay, coming in at number 15, an album from 2016, and it's called Where Are You Going To? So on here we've got Robin doing guitars and vocals, Livingston Brown on the bass, and Chris Taggart on the drums. The first track on this one is called When Will the Next Blow Fall? There's just nothing like a three-piece blues band, is there? Robin's voice has changed. It's a little bit gravelier, but it worked on this album. Absolutely terrific. Where Are You Going To is next. Another solid song, good vocal from Robin, some great bass from Livingston, solid drumming from Chris. Brilliant track again. Back Where You Belong. I love the start of this, that jazzy little bit of guitar at the beginning, and then that sort of psychedelic Jimi Hendrix style of playing comes in. It's a really how that transition from a jazzy to more of a psychedelic sound. Really strong track. Jigsaw, one of my favourite tracks on the album. It's got a really bluesy sound to it. The bass line is the killer though. Absolutely top draw. The Fruits of Your Desire, very strong vocal from Robin, and Chris's drumming is terrific on that. It keeps that beat so well. We'll Be Together Someday, my favourite track on here, and it's all about Chris Taggart's drumming, and it seems like everyone's having a lot of fun on this. It's a good track. Ain't Used to Worry, my second favourite track on here. It's my favourite vocal actually from Robin on this, and drums from Chris are great. In Too Deep, what a riff and what a bass line. It just blows you away. Great groove, that bass line. I'm Holding On To You. This track is driven by the bass line from Livingston. Everyone, it's Chris and Robin just glue around that bass line. It's a good vocal as well. Delusion, Sweet Delusion, another solid track. It sometimes wonders if it's made up as you go along, because the playing on it is just terrific. It's a bit of a jam for me. It really is good, and it's a great track to end the album. I like this album. I love these three in the band. They're fine musicians, and they always seem to comes across they're having fun. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. Okay, we've come to the last one today, and it's number 14, and it's from 2022, and it's called No More Worlds to Conquer. So on here we got Robin doing guitar and bass, Chris Taggart on the drums, Livingston Brown on the bass, Richard Watts doing the vocals, and Paddy Milner plays the organ. So the first track on here is called A Ball of Fire. Great idea bringing in a good vocalist. Richard Watts is that. He's a great blues singer, and it's another fine performance from Robin on the guitar. You know, still turning it out. No More Worlds to Conquer, the title track, belongs to Livingston because the bass on it is just amazing. Love that track. Deadly Kiss comes next. Probably the weakest track on here, and it's because I don't like the backing vocals. It's simple as that. I don't think they suit it. Birdsong, Chris Taggart's drumming keeps the song solid. Livingston and Robin just play around that, and it's a great vocal from Richard. Losing You, my favourite song on here. This is the best performance on this album by the whole band. What a bunch of great musicians, and the vocal from Richard is killer. Great track. Then we have Waiting for the Rain to Fall, a very solid track. Fine performance again. I do like that. Wither on the Vine. What makes this song is Livingston and Chris. That engine room. It's so tight. Flows wonderfully, and you got this really strong vocal from Richard. Throw in some good Robin guitar, and it's a great track. Cloud Across the Sun. Another fine vocal from Richard. But once again, it's that engine room of Chris and Livingston that really drive the song along. Fires to Ashes. Now, I love this. The keyboard from Paddy on this is great. It really holds the track together. Wonderful guitar playing. That's really good. The Razor's Edge. This just proves that Robin has still got does the business when it comes to playing blues. A fine guitar solo on that one. And the last track on this one is called I Will Always Be Your Shelter. It's got a very nice gentle feel to it. Some delicate guitar work on this one. It's a nice gentle track to end the album. This is a pretty decent album. There's some brilliant playing on here. Bringing in Richard to do the singing is good. I think Chris and Livingston are brilliant on this. They really are the gel on this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.4. Okay, that's part one of Robin Trower. Next week we will do from 13 to number 1. So that's all for today. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, and we've got a great sophomore drove. It's a punk one, and we have got The Damned going up against Stiff Little Fingers. And Pick and Mix tomorrow we're doing In the Camera's View, so we're going to look at a DVD VHS. This actually came out on VHS, and it's the incredible performance of Pink Floyd at Pompeii. And also tomorrow, of course, is live stream day. So that's all coming up tomorrow. Have a great day. It's a lot cooler here today. It's after the few days of heat. So it's a welcome return to some nice weather. Okay, bye for now.